A colossal alien predator descended from the sky, its massive form streaking through the atmosphere like a comet of destruction. Its landing shook the ground beneath it as it crashed into a remote forest, leaving a trail of devastation. In its wake, trees splintered and uprooted, flames erupted from the impact site, sending smoke billowing into the air. In a nearby city, the news spread like wildfire. Panic erupted as citizens rushed to evacuate their homes. The government scrambled to respond, mobilizing military forces and scientists to assess the situation. The creature stood over 100 feet tall with armored scales and razor-sharp claws. Its glowing eyes surveyed the surroundings as it let out a deafening roar that echoed through the hills. Inside a hastily assembled command center, military officials and scientists gathered around screens displaying live feeds of the creature's movements. They watched in horror as it effortlessly tore through buildings and vehicles, sending debris flying in all directions. A general barked orders to deploy drones for reconnaissance, while experts analyzed its behavior, trying to glean any insight into its strengths and weaknesses. Emily Chen, a leading xenobiologist, stood at the forefront of the operation. Her eyes flickered with determination. As she reviewed the data available, they needed to understand this predator. If they had any hope of stopping it, she turned to the group, her voice steady but filled with urgency. We need to gather samples of its biological material, find out what makes it tick, and how we can exploit its weaknesses. As the team worked tirelessly to gather information, the situation on the ground grew increasingly dire. The creature seemed to thrive in the chaos. It demonstrated remarkable agility and intelligence, dodging attacks and retaliating with devastating force. Entire neighborhoods lay in ruins as it rampaged through the city, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. In the chaos, a small girl named Maya watched from a distance with wide eyes, her heart racing as she clutched her teddy bear. She had been separated from her parents in the frenzy, and now stood alone, her gaze fixed on the monstrous figure towering over the city. She felt a strange mixture of fear and fascination as she observed the creature's movements. Mia noticed something peculiar. The creature seemed to react to certain sounds. It hesitated when loud noises erupted and appeared to flinch at high-pitched frequencies. She felt a spark of curiosity ignite within her. Could there be a way to communicate with it or distract it using sound? She pondered the thought for a moment. Meanwhile, the scientists continued their frantic efforts to devise a plan to combat the creature. They exhausted every option, from conventional weaponry to high-tech gadgets, but nothing seemed to faze the predator. Each attack was met with a swift counter, as it demonstrated a cunning intellect that surpassed their expectations. Back at the command center, Emily listened intently to the reports coming in. Her mind raced with possibilities. She turned to her colleagues. What if we could use sound against it? What if Maya's observations are correct? We could create a sonic weapon that targets its vulnerabilities. We need to act fast before it reaches the heart of the city. As the team rallied together to create a sound-based strategy, Maya's eyes shone with hope. She wanted to help. She believed there had to be a way to reach the creature. She began to devise her own plan. Little did she know that her innocent idea would lead to an unexpected confrontation that would change the course of history forever. As night fell over the devastated city, the air was thick with tension and uncertainty. The creature had paused its rampage for the moment, but its presence loomed large in the minds of the residents who had fled to safety in shelters and makeshift evacuation centers. Emily gathered her team once more, determined to piece together the puzzle of the predator. In the dimly lit command center, the screens flickered with images of the creature, its towering figure silhouetted against the smoky sky. The team's atmosphere was a mixture of urgency and despair as they reviewed the footage captured by drones. Emily pointed to a video where the creature had flinched at a loud explosion. What if this reaction indicates a weakness? She proposed, her mind racing with ideas. A colleague chimed in. We have to find a way to exploit this. If we can create specific frequencies that disrupt its senses, we might be able to immobilize it long enough to capture or eliminate it. The team sprang into action, dividing into groups to research sound frequencies, while others worked on technology that could produce these sounds. They spent hours scouring data and scientific literature, piecing together a strategy that could potentially save the city and its people. Meanwhile, Maya watched the adults with keen interest. She was eager to contribute and share her observations. She recalled how the creature had reacted to the sounds in the forest earlier that day. She remembered the rustling of leaves and the distant crack of branches. Could these sounds be the key to understanding the creature? As dawn broke, Emily called for a meeting to share their findings. The room buzzed with anticipation. She stood before the team armed with new research. We believe we can use sonic waves to create a barrier that disrupts the creature's senses. If we can find the right frequencies, we may immobilize it. The plan required precision and coordination. They would need to position speakers at strategic points throughout the city to create a wave of sound that would envelop the creature. Emily emphasized the urgency. We need to deploy this before it reaches the center of the city, where civilian populations are concentrated. Maya raised her hand hesitantly. I think I can help, she said, her voice soft but firm. Everyone turned to her in surprise. She explained her idea based on her observations. She had noticed that the creature seemed to react differently to various sounds. She proposed creating a sound pattern that included both high-pitched and low-frequency tones. With a mix of skepticism and hope, the team agreed to let Maya contribute her unique perspective. They set to work creating a sound device that incorporated her suggestions. Emily recognized the importance of involving the young girl and how her innocence might bring fresh insight. As they worked together, the team felt a renewed sense of purpose. The more they collaborated, the more they began to bond, each member recognizing that they were fighting not just for survival, but for the very future of humanity. Maya's contributions sparked creativity among the scientists, bringing new energy to the group. Hours passed as they tested their device. Finally, they achieved a prototype that combined different sound frequencies. They felt a flicker of hope as they prepared for the next encounter with the predator. As the sun began to set again, they set their plan into motion, gathering their resources and ensuring they were ready to face the unknown. With the stage set for confrontation, the atmosphere was electric, filled with anticipation and fear as they moved closer to the moment when they would face the creature and put their plan to the test. Little did they know that the true turning point in their battle would hinge on the bravery of one small girl ready to step into the unknown. As night descended once more, the team gathered in the command center, the tension palpable as they prepared for their encounter with the alien predator. Emily checked the equipment, ensuring everything was in place. The modified sonic device stood ready, its speakers aimed toward the area where the creature had last been sighted. Mia stood among the scientists, her heart racing with a mixture of fear and excitement. She felt a sense of responsibility, knowing her observations had played a crucial role in shaping their strategy. The team had devised a plan to lure the creature toward an open area where they could unleash the sonic waves. Emily addressed the team, her voice steady and authoritative. We need to remain calm and focused during the operation. Our goal is to disrupt the creature's senses and gain control. We will need to work together to ensure its success. As they set out into the darkened city, a sense of purpose enveloped them. The streets lay eerily silent, illuminated only by the flickering lights of emergency vehicles and the occasional glow of fires still burning from the creature's rampage. Maya clutched her teddy bear tightly, a symbol of her innocence in a world turned chaotic. They arrived at a wide-open space on the outskirts of the city, a place where they could safely execute their plan. Emily and the team quickly positioned the speakers around the perimeter, ensuring they covered all angles. Maya stood close by, watching intently as the scientists made their final preparations. With the device ready, Emily signaled to her team to initiate the first phase of the plan. They activated the speakers, sending out a low-frequency hum into the air. The sound reverberated through the ground and into the night as they waited anxiously for the creature to respond. Moments later, the ground trembled as the predator emerged from the shadows, its massive form silhouetted against the moonlit sky, its glowing eyes fixed on the team. The air crackled with tension as it advanced toward them, sensing something unusual in the atmosphere. Emily held her breath as she activated the second phase of the plan, sending out a series of high-pitched frequencies designed to disrupt the creature's senses. The sound waves combined created a chaotic melody that filled the air. To their astonishment, the predator hesitated, its massive head tilting as it tried to comprehend the unexpected onslaught of sound. It snarled in confusion and rage. The team exchanged glances, their hearts racing as they witnessed their plan begin to take effect. Maya felt a surge of hope as she remembered her observations. She stepped closer to the speakers, knowing they needed to amplify the effect. She shouted over the noise, "Let's add more sound, keep it coming." Following her lead, the team adjusted the frequencies, layering them to create a more complex sonic barrier as the creature writhed in discomfort, its colossal body thrashing about in a desperate attempt to escape the sound waves that enveloped it. Emily seized the opportunity and shouted into the comms team, ready for Phase 3, unleash the full power of the sonic device now. With a collective nod, the team cranked up the device, sending a surge of sound coursing through the air. The predator let out a deafening roar as it staggered back, clearly affected by the assault on its senses. Mia watched in awe as the creature struggled to maintain its footing, the ground shaking beneath it. She could see the confusion etched in its eyes, and it was a sight that filled her with a mix of fear and sympathy. She understood that it was just a creature trying to survive in an unfamiliar world. In that moment, a realization washed over her. Perhaps they could reach it in a way that went beyond mere strategy. Perhaps understanding and compassion could play a role in their confrontation. As the team pressed on, the battle was just beginning, and Maya felt a deep conviction that their connection with the predator would be key to their survival. As the sound waves enveloped the alien predator, it thrashed wildly, trying to break free from the invisible barrier that had been created. The once formidable creature now seemed vulnerable, its snarls mingling with the cacophony of noise that filled the air. Emily watched intently, her heart racing as she processed the creature's response. Mia stood at the edge of the chaos, feeling an unexpected surge of empathy for the beast. She had seen its power and ferocity, but now she witnessed something different. Fear and confusion flickered in its glowing eyes as it struggled against the onslaught of sound. She recalled how she had felt when she was alone. The predator was just as lost and afraid as she had been. She felt a spark of courage ignite within her, and in that moment she made a decision. She would reach out to the creature. Somehow she would try to connect with it. As the team continued to increase the sound intensity, the creature let out another deafening roar, this time filled with desperation. Emily turned to Maya, sensing the shift in her demeanor. "Maya, what are you thinking?" "I think it needs to hear something different," she replied, her voice steady and resolute. "If we keep attacking, it will just fight back. We need to show it we mean no harm." Emily hesitated, weighing the risks, but something in Maya's eyes convinced her to listen. Perhaps this innocent perspective could offer a breakthrough in their strategy. "We can give it a try," she agreed, adjusting the settings on the device. Mia took a deep breath and stepped forward as the team lowered the intensity of the sonic waves. She closed her eyes and began to hum softly, a melody she remembered from her childhood, a soothing sound filled with warmth and comfort. She hoped it would carry through the noise and reach the creature. To her amazement, the predator paused, its thrashing subsided, and its attention shifted toward the sound. Maya continued to hum, letting her voice rise and fall in a gentle rhythm. The creature's eyes locked onto her, its expression changing from confusion to curiosity. Emily watched in disbelief as the atmosphere began to shift. The once aggressive creature seemed captivated by Maya's melody. It took a cautious step forward, its massive body swaying gently as if drawn to the sound. Mia encouraged the team to keep the noise steady while she continued her melody, the sound of her voice weaving through the chaos. Like a thread of connection, she felt a bond forming between herself and the creature. It was no longer an enemy, but a being in distress seeking understanding. As Maya sang, the predator slowly lowered its head, its glowing eyes softened, and it let out a low rumbling sound that echoed through the air. It was neither a roar of aggression nor a growl of anger, but a sound that resonated with an almost mournful quality. Emily and the team exchanged incredulous looks, realizing that Maya's approach was working. Perhaps they had been wrong to view the predator solely as a threat. It was a living creature with its own emotions and instincts. Mia continued to hum the melody, growing more confident with each note. She watched as the creature began to relax, its body language shifting from defensive to curious. It took another cautious step forward, as if inviting her to continue. With each note, Maya felt a connection deepen between them. She understood that this was not just about survival, it was about finding common ground in the midst of chaos. She poured her heart into the song, trusting that the predator could sense her sincerity. As the melody filled the air, the predator seemed to respond, its massive frame gradually lowering closer to the ground. As it listened to the music, the transformation was breathtaking, a fierce warrior becoming a gentle giant before her eyes. In that moment, Maya realized that understanding was the key to overcoming fear. She had reached out with compassion, and in return the creature had softened. Perhaps there was hope for coexistence, and the chance to bridge the gap between their worlds. As the team witnessed this remarkable exchange, they knew they were on the verge of something profound, a pivotal moment in their battle for survival. As Maya continued to hum the melody, the atmosphere around them shifted. The tension that had once gripped the air began to dissolve, replaced by a fragile sense of understanding. Emily watched in awe as the predator slowly lowered its massive head, inching closer to the girl, its glowing eyes reflecting a mixture of curiosity and vulnerability. The team stood in stunned silence, uncertain of how to proceed. They had come prepared to fight, yet here was Maya bridging a divide they had deemed insurmountable. The creature seemed to respond to her presence, as if recognizing her as something different, not just another human threat. Maya's heart raced with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. She felt a deep connection forming between herself and the alien being. She focused on her melody, pouring all her hope and compassion into the notes she sang. The predator remained still, its body language shifting from aggressive posturing to a more relaxed stance. Emily stepped forward, breaking the silence. She addressed the creature softly. "We mean you no harm, we just want to understand you." She felt a strange sense of calm wash over her as she spoke, hoping the creature could sense her sincerity. To her surprise, the predator turned its massive head toward Emily, its gaze steady. As it listened, the low, rumbling sound that had emerged earlier grew softer, a response that felt almost like a communication. Emily felt the enormity of the moment. They were no longer enemies, but two species seeking common ground. Mia continued her melody, weaving her voice through the night. The sound seemed to create an invisible bond between them, drawing the predator closer as it studied her with newfound interest. The team held their breath, captivated by this unexpected turn of events. With each note, Maya felt the weight of their shared experiences. She thought of the destruction that had unfolded, the fear that had gripped the city, and the innocence that still existed within the heart of a child and an alien creature alike. She knew she had to keep going. As the melody swelled, the predator shifted, its massive body inching closer. Still, the ground trembled slightly beneath its weight, but it did not seem to intend any harm. Instead, it appeared curious, almost entranced by Maya's voice. Emily noticed the creature's posture soften, its enormous claws retracting as it moved closer to the sound. She realized that they were on the brink of a breakthrough. This creature had been driven by instinct and fear, but now it was responding to something deeper. Maya felt a surge of warmth flood her heart as the predator lowered itself to her level, its eyes shining with a mixture of emotions. She could see the creature's pain and confusion, and she understood in that moment that they were both fighting for survival in their own ways. Encouraged by the connection she had forged, Mia decided to take a bold step. She reached out her small hand, extending it toward the creature. She felt a wave of uncertainty wash over her, but she pushed it aside, trusting in the bond they had created. To her astonishment, the predator hesitated, then slowly leaned forward, allowing her hand to brush against its armored snout. The sensation sent shivers down her spine, but she felt no fear, only a profound sense of peace washing over her. The team watched in amazement as Maya and the creature shared this intimate moment. It was a gesture of trust and understanding transcending the boundaries of species. Emily realized that they had stumbled upon something powerful, an opportunity to reshape the narrative of their conflict. As Maya withdrew her hand, the creature emitted a low rumble that sounded almost like a para sound that resonated deep within her. She felt a connection that would forever change her understanding of both the creature and herself. They have found a way to communicate beyond fear and aggression, and now they stood on the precipice of something truly extraordinary, a chance to create a new path forward for both humans and aliens alike. As the low rumble of the creature echoed in the night air, Maya felt a warmth spread through her chest. She had taken a step into the unknown and found connection. Instead of fear, Emily sensed the shift as well. Her heart swelled with hope at the sight of this unlikely bond forming before her. The team stood in awe, watching as Maya and the predator engaged in this silent exchange. They had entered a realm beyond the chaos and destruction that had characterized their encounters, a place where understanding was possible, where compassion could prevail over instinct. Emily stepped forward cautiously. She spoke gently to the creature. "We see your strength and your power, but we also see your pain. We want to help you." She hoped the creature could understand her words as it focused on Maya, its attention unwavering. The predator tilted its head curiously, its massive form now relaxed. It took a step closer to Maya, almost as if drawn to her warmth. She continued to hum a gentle melody, the sound wrapping around them like a protective cocoon. This was not the battle they had prepared for. It was something deeper, something that could change everything. Mia glanced back at Emily, her eyes shining with determination. "I think we can communicate with it if we keep doing this," she said, her voice steady. "I can feel it listening. It wants to understand." Emily nodded, feeling a newfound sense of direction in their approach. If they could reach the creature on an emotional level, perhaps they could find a way to coexist. The realization hit her like a wave. They had been so focused on defeating the predator that they had overlooked the possibility of collaboration. With renewed purpose, Emily addressed her team. "We need to shift our strategy. Instead of treating it as an enemy, let's treat it as an ally. Let's see if we can establish a dialogue. We need to find a way to coexist." The scientists began to brainstorm ways to communicate with the predator beyond sound. They discussed visual cues and gestures, considering how to convey their intentions without inciting fear or aggression. Maya felt a rush of excitement at the thought of working together to create understanding. She remembered how the creature had responded to her melody, and she wanted to build on that foundation. She stepped forward again and began to dance slowly, her movements fluid and graceful as she incorporated gestures of peace and friendship. The predator watched intently as Maya moved. Its eyes followed her every motion, and with each step she took, she felt the bond grow stronger. She instinctively understood that this was a way to communicate beyond words. Emily watched in disbelief as the creature leaned closer to Maya, its massive form now radiating curiosity. Instead of hostility, the team adjusted their approach, creating a more harmonious environment surrounding Maya and the predator, with sounds of nature and soft lights. As the melody continued to fill the air, the atmosphere shifted once again. The creature began to respond, its body swaying gently in rhythm. With Maya's dance, it seemed to mirror her movements, its massive form moving with surprising grace. Maya felt a connection that transcended the fear and destruction they had all experienced. The predator was no longer a monster in her eyes, but a being deserving of compassion and understanding. She smiled as she continued to dance, encouraging the creature to join her in this new form of communication. Emily felt a swell of pride for the young girl who had initiated this profound change. She realized that it was not just about survival, but about healing and rebuilding a connection between two worlds that had been so deeply divided. The night continued to unfold as Maya danced, and the creature responded. They created a beautiful tapestry of sound and movement, an unexpected alliance forged in the crucible of chaos. As the team watched this remarkable moment, they knew they were witnessing the dawn of a new era, one where fear could be transformed into understanding, and where unity could triumph over division. As the tension reached its peak, the team stood ready, their hearts racing as they prepared to execute their plan. Emily glanced at Maya, who stood at the front, her small frame steady amidst the chaos. There was a quiet determination in her eyes that inspired the adults around her. They had come so far from viewing the predator as merely a threat. Now they were willing to embrace understanding. With a nod from Emily, the team activated the modified sonic device. The low hum of sound began to resonate through the air, each frequency carefully calibrated to capture the creature's attention. As the sound waves filled the space, they waited breathlessly for a response. The ground trembled slightly as the colossal predator emerged from the shadows, its massive form silhouetted against the flickering lights of the city. Its glowing eyes locked onto the source of the sound. It paused momentarily, as if assessing the situation. Emily's heart raced as she watched. The creature responded, let out a low growl, but this time it seemed less aggressive, more curious. As it stepped forward, its massive claws digging into the earth, the team exchanged anxious glances, but Maya remained focused. She could sense the creature's hesitation. Encouraged by the change in the creature's demeanor, Emily signaled to increase the frequency of the sound waves. The melody shifted, becoming a soothing rhythm that flowed through the air, a deliberate invitation for the predator to engage. Mia stepped forward, instinctively feeling that her presence could bridge the gap between them. She raised her hand slowly in a gesture of peace. Her voice carried over the sound. We're not here to hurt you, we just want to understand you. To everyone's astonishment, the predator hesitated again, its head tilting as it regarded Maya. With a mix of curiosity and caution, Emily held her breath, realizing that they were on the cusp of a breakthrough. Mia continued to speak to the creature, her voice calm and steady, urging it to come closer. She felt a connection building between them, an invisible thread weaving through the air, binding them in a shared experience of fear and longing for understanding. As the melody filled the space, the creature took another step closer. Its massive body loomed, but now there was a gentleness in its movements. The team watched in awe as it responded to Maya's presence, letting out a softer rumbling sound that resonated with the melody. In that moment, Maya felt a surge of hope. Her heart soared as she realized they were truly communicating. She reached out her hand, slowly inviting the creature to come even closer. Sensing its hesitation, she poured her energy into her song, creating a bond that transcended their differences. The predator seemed captivated by her sincerity. It lowered its massive head closer to her level, its glowing eyes now filled with an emotion that resembled understanding, perhaps even longing. Maya could feel the power of that connection pulling her closer. With a deep breath, she took another step forward, letting her hand brush against the creature's armored snout, a moment that felt both terrifying and exhilarating. The predator paused as if processing the gentle touch. A silence enveloped them. Emily felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her. She understood that this act was more than just a gesture. It was a leap into the unknown, a testament to the power of empathy in the face of fear. As Maya and the creature shared this intimate moment, the team could sense a shift in the air. They had crossed a threshold into a realm where understanding could flourish, where fear could be transformed into compassion. With a rumble that echoed through the night, the creature let out a sound that resonated with warmth and acceptance, the melody of their connection, creating a harmony that filled the space between them. In that instant, the predator was no longer a monster, but a being deserving of empathy and respect. The team watched in awe as the bond solidified a new chapter. in their story unfolding before their eyes, a tale of unity born from chaos and fear transforming into a beautiful tapestry of understanding and hope for both humans and the alien predator. As the creature continued to lean into Maya's touch, the atmosphere shifted from one of impending conflict to a shared moment of understanding. The team held their breath, watching as this fragile connection blossomed before their eyes. Emily felt a swell of pride for Maya and the bravery that had brought them to this pivotal moment. Mia focused on the creature, her heart racing with a blend of fear and exhilaration. She had stepped into the unknown and found an unexpected ally. She continued to hum softly, a melody that echoed the peace she felt within herself. The predator's glowing eyes watched her intently, as if seeking reassurance. Emily turned to her team, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. "We need to document this moment," she said, her voice steady. "We have to record what we are witnessing. Perhaps this can serve as a model for future encounters with alien life." As they activated cameras and recording devices, the atmosphere remained charged with emotion. Maya sensed the creature responding to the sounds around it, the soft hum of the melody blending with the low rumble of acceptance emanating from its throat. Suddenly, the ground shook slightly as the creature shifted its massive body closer to Maya, its eyes filled with a depth of emotion she had never seen before. She felt a sense of connection, not just with this predator, but with all living beings yearning for understanding. Mia stepped back slightly, not wanting to overwhelm the creature. She sensed its vulnerability, and instead focused on creating a safe space for both of them. She lowered her hands and spoke softly, "You are safe here. We want to be friends." In that moment, the predator let out a sound that resonated like a deep purr, almost musical in its quality. The team exchanged looks of astonishment, realizing that they were witnessing the birth of a new relationship, a bond that transcended fear and aggression. Emily's heart swelled as she realized they had reached a turning point. This encounter could change everything. It was a chance to redefine humanity's relationship with the unknown, to embrace coexistence rather than conflict. As Maya continued to engage the creature, the team brainstormed ideas for how to maintain communication in the future. They discussed sound patterns, visual signals, and the possibility of establishing a language that both species could understand. Mia felt empowered by the support of the team. She was no longer just a child in a chaotic world. She was a bridge between two species, a beacon of hope and understanding in the midst of uncertainty. The creature leaned in closer, its massive snout brushing against Maya's arm. She could feel its warmth and strength, and it filled her with a sense of wonder. She knew this was a moment that would forever change her life and the lives of those around her. As the night deepened, the team continued to experiment with communication techniques. They played different sounds and observed the creature's responses, experimenting with melodies and rhythms that conveyed peace and friendship. Maya felt a surge of inspiration as she danced slowly, weaving her body in rhythm with the creature's movements. She wanted to express the joy of their connection, the beauty of finding harmony amidst chaos and fear. With each step, the predator mirrored her movements. It was a dance of unity, a celebration of life and understanding. The team watched with tears in their eyes as they witnessed this miraculous transformation unfold. As the sun began to rise on the horizon, the first rays of light illuminated the scene, a new dawn, not just for the city, but for the relationship between humans and this magnificent creature they had once feared. In that moment, they realized they had the power to shape their future, a future filled with possibility, where understanding triumphed over fear and where compassion could pave the way for coexistence. As the predator and Maya danced together, they embodied hope, a symbol of what could be achieved when hearts opened and barriers fell away.